Hello heroes, I'm Kato Genesis and welcome to a guide to the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and in this one we'll be going through the process of collecting all 10 of the Ayleid artifacts for the side quest known as the Collector. Aside from seeing a lovely collection of 10 statues in one nice display case, bonus included, you'll be walking away with 10,000 gold when they're all turned in. Before we get to locations of all the statues, let's get into where to start the quest. Once you have one Ayleid statue in your inventory, you can simply initiate the quest by waiting or selling it to one of the Imperial City merchants, at which point the Collector Umbacano's butler will approach you.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jolring. I come on behalf of my master, Umbacano,
with a letter from the Collector himself. But if you know where his house is to begin with, you don't have to wait. So again, once you have an Ayleid statue, head to the Talos Plaza District, the westernmost district in the Imperial City. The house you're looking for is behind the big central statue to the left. And after you enter, Jolring should approach you immediately, saying he represents Umbacano, a collector of Ayleid artifacts, at which point you can show him the Ayleid artifact you are willing to sell, and Jolring will escort you upstairs to work out a deal with Umbacano, starting the quest, the Collector. As a warning, this is not the only side quest that Umbacano gives you, and partway through collecting the statues for him, you can start another quest chain, Nothing You Can Possess, leading into Secrets of the Ayleids, where afterwards, Umbacano will not be available to give you your payments. So if you want the full payment, including the 5,000 gold bonus, you should bring him all 10 statues before doing the other side quests he gives you. So let's move on to collecting those 10 ancestors for Umbacano. For the first of the 10 statues, we'll start with the one that's most likely to bring you to Umbacano in the first place, and that would be the statue in Vilverin, directly across from the Imperial City prison exit, where you basically started the game. Most of your traversal in the first area of Vilverin will be a straight corridor, then opening up into a room that has a few more bandits than usual. Going down and to the left will eventually lead you to the next section of Vilverin, Vilverin Canosel, or Canosel. I will ruin every pronunciation for these areas. The next area is a seemingly small chamber with different passages going every direction, with an Ayleid cask in the center. If you look to the west from the center, it'll look like a dead end until you look on the other side of the sarcophagus here, where there will be a floor button that you can step on, then wait for the nearby slow-moving stone gate, and find an entirely new area of Vilverin that the bandits probably shouldn't have been investigating. There will be a locked door straight ahead to speed up access to the rest of the ruin, but like the previous room, to the west there will be another sarcophagus blocking yet another button that you may step on to open up another passageway, but now encountering undead. The following stairwell leads further down deep into the dungeon, with no doubt more fights along the way, as well as another button. This button will open up a larger room with a pool in the center that the door would have led to eventually. Connecting to this room will be another stone door leading further into the dungeon to Vilverin Wendicel. This area will also introduce traps of the pitfall and spikes variety. Taking this small stairway up will come to a T. Off to the right will be a small room with a few things to loot and fight. The left of the T intersection will continue on into a room with a puzzle, which consists of 6 buttons, one of which gives you the key to the following door. The other 5 may contain an undead surprise. If you just want the key, the correct button is the upper right one. That will have opened an indentation on the corresponding wall containing the Vilverin chamber key, which unsurprisingly opens the way to the next chamber. This one containing a hidden treasure when you enter. There will be a button on the stone balcony area that when pressed will raise the metal cage, revealing a rare and valuable Varla stone. Not what we're here for, but valuable all the same. We'll then head to the next area of Vilverin, Vilverin Cell Sancramathi. And in here, straight ahead as you finish ascending the stairs, will be the Vilverin statue. Atmospheric lighting working in such a way to tell you, pick this up. It's valuable. Oh, but do look out for the swinging guillotines in your way. Now, so long as you're not a Khajiit stuck in a tree, you should be able to make it out of this dungeon on your own, so let's move on to the next one. Next, we go for the statue in Fanacas, or Fanacas. This is the vampire-infested ruin that is north of Cheydinhal and a short ways to the east from Lake Arias. After you reach the snowy mountains and make your way inside, the first chamber will be the central one, filled with water, with stone bridges running across it. Your first path will be one of these stone bridges, and it's kind of the theme of this place. After taking the right turn on this bridge, you'll be faced with 4 dropping guillotines that can be easily avoided by just hopping on the railing or jumping over them when they fall. Followed by a very obvious button-activated door, which ends in a small room, and another button-activated door. Then we are taken back through the watery room to another button that opens not 1, but 2 doors. Very fancy. The second door that opened from this button will lead back into the central chamber, similarly to the other two bridges we crossed, into a smaller chamber with some sarcophagi. There is one more button-activated door after this room, which takes us to another chamber that is almost entirely full of water. If you dive in from the broken portion of the balcony and turn left, you'll be able to emerge from the surface with this stairwell and feast your eyes on the treasure we're looking for, the Fanacas statue. Taking a right will eventually lead you back out, and as a reminder, it may be good to check if you have any active diseases, and if you don't feel like becoming a vampire and developed porphyric hemophilia, you can head to the temple in Cheydinhal and get rid of it that way. The next statue we're going for is in the ruin of Culotte, or Culotte, on the river's coast, in between the Upper Niben and the Yellow Road. When entering, we'll start with a half-circle staircase, which then takes us across a suspended walkway. Down the first set of stairs and then down the second, there will be a button to step on. This button activates a door in the chamber underneath the walkway we just went over. Go through this doorway and there will be another more grand bridge over the chamber below full of sarcophagi. And the middle of this bridge is a bit weak. You could fall through, but that's okay. The bridge leads down to this chamber anyway. After passing through this burial chamber, there will be a smaller room to follow it up with the Ayleid statue just sitting on the floor between three pillars. When you pick this up too, you'll notice that this was strangely an empty ruin until you do pick up the statue, at which point the dead will be awake, but fortunately it's a pretty straight path on your way out too. So best of luck, on to the next one. Macamentain is where we'll find the next Ayleid statue, and this ruin is in between the Cerbellus River and the Silverfish River, near that little pond in between them. The enemy flavor of this dungeon is undead with a sprinkle of necromancers, and once you enter and walk down the stairs, you will be presented with a button that opens a door. Highly unusual. This first chamber has a wonderful treasure of 4 concealed Varla stones, with 2 buttons, one on the southeast wall, one on the northwest wall, to raise the 4 cages. The following corridor to the northeast leads to another floor button, which opens the door straight ahead, which leads into a clearly booby-trapped room with a pool of blood and a body and everything, just to be sure you notice it. You know, you would definitely notice it, not hit it by accident while you're recording this and edit it out because you don't want to make people think you're a fool. But this leads to the stone door into the next floor of the dungeon, Tombs of the Undead, which is a very un-Ayleid name for the next chamber. There will be 2 paths to take when you enter the tombs, the stairs straight up and the same floor path to the left. Both of these paths actually connect on the other side, but if you head up the stairs, a walkway over top the tombs will lead on to the next chamber. One with a button on the floor in the middle, but surprisingly, no door. No, instead this button got upgraded to a raising staircase that can be an escalator if you're quick enough. The room dead ahead has a few more items to loot and a stairway that continues going up to the northwest. That takes you to the next stone door that leads to the Necromancer's Asylum. This opens up to a pretty large chamber, the first section of it having another very obvious big square slab trap in the middle that you definitely won't step on because you know about it now. And further into a room, you'll notice a slight glow and a familiar silhouette. The Ayleid statue we're looking for, a collectible in the wrong collector's hands. After taking out the necromancers and their minions and picking up the statue, continue to the northwest wall where 2 metal doors will lead to a stone door that will take you back to where you came in. The next statue we're going for is in the ruin of Wendelbek, due east from Breville and north of the Panther River. Another Ayleid ruin converted to a necromancer hideout, but this one is much larger and has a necromancer's altar out front, if you need to come back here later and make some black soul gems. Wendelbek's layout is a bit strange, and appears a bit more touristy than most. Moving ahead off to the right, you'll see an overlook of the grand chamber that has a massive gas trap in the middle. To the left will be the gift shop, and straight ahead is the employees only section, which if you can lockpick it, you can bypass the majority of the following traps. But we're going to go with the grand chamber route. So jumping from this little balcony into the grand chamber, avoiding the massive gas trap in the center that again, we are all very cautious of and didn't trigger at all. Reach the far west wall of this chamber, and off to the right will be a corridor to a much smaller room. And the following room will have more gas. A lot more gas. Gas that you didn't even trigger this time. Pass the gas, take the stairs up, and you will come to a T in the path, the right side leading to another employees only door, the other side of the bypass I mentioned. And the path to the left takes you across a nice view of all of the chambers you probably just walked through onto a following stone door to Wendelbek Aldmerciel. And like a warm blanket, the first thing leading us into this next chamber will be a button that opens a door. This chamber is essentially a giant box with a central platform, accessible from one of the corners where you can see the pillar, or column. I always get those confused. If you fall down below, there will be a button and basically nothing else to raise all the nearby unraised stairs, letting you easily get to the central platform and the rest of the room. And there is a Varla stone among the alchemical elements sitting on the table here. To the east of this grand chamber will be one of the familiar closed metal doors with no button in sight, but the following stone door for the next area of the dungeon behind it. To open this door to the door, the northeast section of the chamber will have a stairway that leads up and curves around straight into a button that controls the door. Then you can head back down, go back to the east wall, and activate the stone door that leads to Wendelbek Sel Aran Mathmadli. That was awful to try to say. This next room will be overlooking a bit of a mess central room, now with crystalline turrets that fire spells at you occasionally, but if you move a little to the right and look over the balcony, you will see the statue that we're after. So staying on the balcony and heading north instead into the short corridor and down the stairs, then taking a left, then a right, pressing a wall button this time for the door, and then taking another right, you will be at the table holding the statue that we're seeking. Where you find the statue here isn't actually the final chamber of Wendelbek, so I'll quickly throw in how to get out too. Once you have picked up the statue, you can jump down into the gassy chamber down below. There'll be 3 entrances down here to a small rectangular chamber with a lot of loot, the locked door which leads back up, and a set of stairs that leads down. The stairs down lead to the next area of the dungeon, Wendelbek Silaseli. This one is very straightforward. First room being a broad hallway with a little bit of opposition. Next, another large chamber with button into escalator to 2 Varla stones and a gate leading to some stairs and a hallway with a button opening up to a chamber with a brazier in the middle with some Welke stones inside. The doorway on the northwest side of this chamber will lead back to the first area of Wendelbek and a button that opens up the secret passage right into the gift shop. The next statue we are seeking is in Welke. This one's southwest of Wendelbek on the southern side of the Panther River. When you enter this ruin and take the stairs down, to the right will be a locked gate, and to the left a corridor that leads to a half-circle staircase, across an elevated walkway, and splitting again. Take a right and then the following right to a small room with a central chest with a floor button. Step on the button, turn around, and the previous dead end to the right here will now have an opening and maybe a skeleton surprise. It turns out the button you pressed revealed a stairway that leads into this large chamber with an outer layer and lower inner layer with some lovely stairs leading down to the stone door to the next area, to Welke Siede. Sied? Kayade. I'm at a loss for this one. Getting a bit more crypt-like, as if it wasn't already. The first hallway will take you to a smallish square room with a crystal chandelier in the center. The only path from here not being a dead end would be one that goes down some more stairs. After going down the stairs, off to the left will be some windows viewing a larger room, multi-floored, with the lower floor being filled with water. And continuing on straight ahead will lead directly into that water that you can then emerge from in that very chamber. This room holds the door to the next area, Welke Edicel, or Edicel. Directly ahead in this darker chamber, sitting on the middle tomb and guarded by the undead, will be the Ayleid statue. That's all there really is to this room, and the exit process in my playthrough I jacked up completely. But how it's supposed to go is walking back out where you came in Welke Edicel, taking a right up the stairs to the button, which leads back to the overview of the watery chamber, taking a right instead of going straight ahead, then another right when you hit the back wall, and taking the following stone door to Wendicel proper, sending you to a corridor of swinging guillotines, and eventually to the locked door we found at the entrance. The next statue is within the ruin northwest of Breville, known as Wenyandawik. Wenny and a wick. The first room is just a cross-hatch design, meant to confuse, I'm sure, but we're too smart for that. And to the northwest is a corridor and a stairwell leading into a grand, wide-open chamber that looks a bit familiar, like we just came in here backwards. Big box, central platform, big column in the middle. But there's a closed door on the north side this time, fortunately, with a button right next to it to open that lovely square door that we feel so safe around. You can shoot arrows through that big hole in it. It's just lovely. Unfortunately, it was protecting you from the next room, Wenyandawik Edicel. On the right will be a closed gate leading into a Varla stone room, and to the left, a long corridor with a cleverly made trap that contains enemies, and when you get towards the end, betrayal. our all too familiar square door will close behind us. A stone passage straight ahead opening up to reveal an ambush. After you shake off the enemies and your disappointment, this passage will lead up some stairs into a Welke stone room with a faintly glowing chandelier in the middle. But then if you strafe a little to the right, you will also see a small pedestal with the statue that we're seeking on top. The following gate will take you to a hallway that stops at an elevated walkway, which you can drop down to get back to Wenyandawik proper and find your way out. The next Ayleid statue is in the ruin of Wendir, this ruin being a short walk from Coral to the south. Fortunately, there's not too much winding around in Wendir, but it might be quite haunted, so bring enchanted weapons or offensive magic to help with that. The first room we get to is a large chamber with an overlook and a broken railing that entices us to go down, but a big room like this could also mean big traps that we all certainly, absolutely, did not step on and avoided. And straight back from this large chamber has some stairs that go down into a smaller room and 2 doors with more stairs down that take you to the first stone door to Wendir Nagasel. The first room in Nagasel has one feature, big old spike trap in the center, and then a short path that leads to some stairs. At the top of the stairs, it gets a bit hazy. Could be the gas. Getting past the gas vents leads to another staircase that'll take you up to some stone walkways over top the gas vents we just walked through, with a door and convenient button to get through. Open it up and follow the walkway to the right, and it will come to a stop right where you can find the Ayleid statue sitting atop a stone table. If you want to make a quick exit just before the door with the button, there will be a darkened passage off to the right, then the following right will lead to some stairs that take you right up to an overlook and a stone door to Wendir proper, just a few paces from the exit. The next statue we're seeking out is in Moranda, the Ayleid ruin almost exactly in the middle in between Bruma and Coral. Moranda will be straightforward for a little while. For example, when you enter, go straight forward. Then when you get to the second fourway, take your right. Head up the stairs straight ahead, then follow the next set of stairs up to the stone door into Moranda Aratasel. This does lead into a much larger chamber with several goodies tucked away, but if you go straight ahead up the stairs and then down the following stairs, again being straightforward, the following stone door will be back to Moranda proper. Then you can take the following right when you reach the bottom of the stairs from that small chandelier room to another small chandelier room with stairs leading further down into Moranda Abaspania. In this section, there'll be even more stairs straight down into a satisfyingly symmetrical series of chambers. The symmetry is deceiving where the treasure lies, however. So even though we're presented with 2 options, left or right, we will go right, and in the following chamber, behind some metal latticework, will be the statue that we're looking for. Even though I praised the symmetry a little bit ago, the repeated room usage can make this area confusing, so the door that leads to the exit is actually on the south side of this map. The next statue is in Ninendava, in the mountains west of Bruma, and in short walking distance of Moranda, the previous ruin we went to. And this dungeon is wonderfully short. The only thing you really got to worry about is the vampires and undead living here. As you step inside, you can go straight ahead up the stairs and come upon a 2-way split where we will first take the left path. Go up some more stairs, take the next left, more stairs to a gate that is hard locked. Behind that gate is the thing that we need though, so you can bypass everything else if you just lockpick it. If we're going the proper way about this though, back where the path splits, we take a right instead and go down the stairs, spiraling to a swinging guillotine hallway. And if we go straight ahead after that, we will reach a small chamber with a gate directly in front. This one unlocked, putting us in view of a coffin. Behind this coffin are 2 more doors that lead to a small living space with the Ninendava gate key sitting on top of a copy of Darkest Darkness. You can then take this key, go back to the entrance, take that left path again, open the locked gate with the key, and take the Ayleid statue behind the light-emitting pedestal. Ooh, that was the 10th statue.
You have exceeded my fondest hopes, my friend. The 10 ancestors are reunited at last. This is truly an historic day.
So if you take all of these statues back to Umbacano in the Imperial City, not only will he have been giving you 500 gold for each of the ancestors, as he puts it, but by the end, a bonus of 5,000 gold on top, for a grand total of 10,000 gold. It only took 10 dungeon delves. And you will get to see all 10 Ayleid statues in their statue-like glory in Umbacano's display case. If you want to, say, benefit financially a bit more out of these statues, and you're a member of the Thieves Guild, you can steal these statues from Umbacano and sell them to a fence for another 1,000 to 2,000 extra gold. But that part's entirely your call. If you're looking for more Oblivion content, I did make a tips and tricks as well as a guide to all the Daedric artifacts, which you can find here. If you found this useful, entertaining, or both, please do whatever it is you see fit to show that, and among the things you can is by supporting on Patreon like the amazing patrons on screen now, including Wasteland Legends, Sven, and David Hoover. Whatever you decide to do, I'm just glad you're here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kato Genesis, and may you wander Cyrodiil like you own it.